Scary story time. We are reading Candle Cove. I heard about it. People like it. I thought about it. People like it. I decided to do it. I just learned that it's an 8-minute read. We'll see what my dyslexia and commentary turn that into, but we're just gonna jump right into it. Candle Cove, let's go. So it starts on the Net Nostalgia Forum, Television Local, and SkyShale033 says, subject, Candle Cove Local Kids Show. Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 p.m. Why is 4 p.m. weird? I mean, there have to be shows at 4 p.m. Someone's gotta fill the space. Mike_Painter65. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl. That is, I'm unsettled. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls, real low budget. No! His head was an old porcelain baby doll, looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though. Sorry to resurrect, this is Jaren_2005. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I think I know exactly what show you mean, SkyShale. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12, okay, well, we never claimed to be experts, Jaren. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember. It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughingstock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got too scared easily. And there was calliope music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name. Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice. Thank you, Jaren! Thank you! I mean, to be fair, I know what it feels like to be tormented by things you just simply can't remember, or things you remember just a little bit. Worst feeling in the world. ADHD helps so much with that. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the Laughingstock in channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. Why? Why couldn't it just be a merwoman? Like a hot, sexy merwoman. That's so much to ask. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had that awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Haha, I remember now too. Do you remember this part, SkyShale? You have to go inside. Ugh, Mike, I got a chill reading that. Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside, with his 2 eyes askew and that flopping foam jaw and the fishing line that opened and closed it. Ugh, it just looked so cheap and awful. I don't know how I feel about This method of storytelling on this forum is interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. This story I heard about in the 1999 episode of Creepcast. Yes, I'm just gonna talk about Creepcast in every video now, apparently. That story in 1999, I feel like had a more natural way that it explained what the shows did, what each episode of the show did. This feels a little weird to me, like, oh, of course I remember that part. That's exactly what happened when this and this and this and this. Like, obviously, he knows that. Why would you tell him that? He just asked you if you remember it. I have a side note. There's a Highland cow up here, but you can never see him. He's too far at the top. I'm thinking of moving him here, but we'll get back to the story. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall, narrow teeth. What? Why? Kevin_Hart. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on. Nightmare fuel. Jaren says, that wasn't the villain, the puppet with the mustache. Okay, Jaren's giving me smart aleck, teacher's pet vibes. I don't know if we need that from him. That was the villain's sidekick, Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that meant he had only one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette. The Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then. Kevin Hart says, Jesus H. Christ, The Skin Taker. What kind of a kid's show were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when The Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings, just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape. And his glass eyes that were too big for his skull. Christ almighty. He sounds kind of sick, actually. I want to be friends with that puppet. Sky Shale says, wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? I don't want to be friends with this pirate anymore. Mike Painter says, yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close. His jaw just slid back and forth. Sorry, back and forth. I remember the little girl said, why does your mouth move like that? And the skin taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, to grind your skin. We got some Red Riding Hood vibes. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended, the show faded in from black, and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces and they were just screaming. And the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically and just all screaming. The girl was moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode. Can we get the real Kevin Hart on the line? I'm gonna need a fact check because that shit's disturbing. No, not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally just standing in place, crying and screaming for the whole show. I like that one guy was like, wait, I remember that too. And she's like, nah, you can't have my horrible childhood memory. That's my memory. That's my trauma. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Oh God, yes. The little girl, Janice, I remember seeing her shake. And the skin taker screaming through his gnashing teeth, his jaw careening so wildly I thought it would come off his wire hinges. I turned it off and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on. We have some nice ads in the middle. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little. In the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, and if she remembered a kids show, Candle Cove. She said she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. And she said, because I used to think it was so strange that you said, I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom, and then you would just tune the TV to static and watch dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show. That's the end. That's very pleasantly short. Unfortunately, Wendigoon did spoil that ending. Not throwing any shade. I'm a little disappointed that it's shorter. I'm a little disappointed that it's not longer. I want to hear more. I want to hear more about these terrifying puppets. I struggle with stories where it's like, it just, this scary thing had a scary impact on someone versus like this scary thing changed things. Like people in this story are like, I was scared of that show. People in 1999 died. Like I want more of a punch. I want more of a payout. You know what I mean? But that's okay. It's just a cute little scary story. And I got like 3 or 4 jokes in. I do think that story was really well written though, and I like the way people kind of told it together and chimed in on each other's memories and validated each other. And that is a haunting ending to realize that, oh, this show actually didn't exist. It's like, what are we to glean from that then? Are the children imagining it? Is there like an invader in their brains? That is actually a really good ending. So I'm a little sad that it was short, but sometimes people just drag on their stories for way too long when they don't need that much time or that many words to say what they're saying. So I liked this story. I liked this little story. This was definitely a very mini Chipper Nap video. So if you're ever bored for 5 minutes, I hope this video keeps you entertained. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Don't forget, Patreon, subscribe, comment, share, like. The Patreon would mean so much to me, but also every single subscriber, I literally throw a mini party. And watch hours are the best way to support me. So if you enjoy my content, watch it. Watch my videos, watch them all, watch them more, watch them again. I appreciate y'all. And I will see you on the flippity flip.